What is up, everyone? We're bringing you something new to the channel today. This is a line of figures that is highly touted as some of the best figures on the market currently, and this is from Sexyice 2019, the Artificial Evolution Ant. This is the third figure from the Sexyice collection that I have. I had this guy on pre-order as soon as it went up for pre-order, so I'm really excited to take a look at this one. Super interesting design, of course, known for its incredible articulation. So let's go ahead and jump right in and take a look at this figure, do a quick review, test the articulation, and then give you my overview at the end of what I think. But here it is, the Sexyice 2019 Artificial Evolution B006 Ant. Now, I had already opened this guy, so you have to excuse the fingerprints. This box is a fingerprint magnet, but of course it comes in this really nice packaging. I really love the way that Sexyice packages their figures. Make it a fun experience to open the figures and unbox them. Of course, they have like cool artwork like you see here. That is the ant figure design for this little slip cover here in the blister, but we will definitely be getting into that. And then we also have the little sort of collector packet here that's pretty cool, you know, just a lot of little details for this guy, you know, for the premium price that you pay for this figure. You know, having cool little stuff like this just adds to that experience. This little ant card is really sick. And then of course he comes with a few extra little joints. I believe those are wrist joints in case those break on you. Comes with little instructions on how to transform him from his humanoid version to his ant form. Now this is a 2-layer blister pack with accessories and stands, tons of hands that sit on the bottom, his secondary head sculpt. And then here is the figure with, and there he is. Let's try to adjust the lighting on here to maybe help see him a little better. But again, as I said, this guy's like different shades of black, matte versus glossy black. Kind of hard to photograph and see on video or in photos, but in person you can see all the detail in that sculpt. You can see all the different segments of his body. He does look like a straight up insect, just with an exoskeleton, armored. He has 4 arms that are going to be highly articulated, his little ant feet. Just a really cool looking figure here. See his little antenna there are articulated. Get a better look at his head sculpt. Really cool. He's got those silver eyes, those glossy pincers as you can see there. Nice shoulder pads, which these are articulated like the other Sexyice figures. So before we get into his articulation, which is the best part about these figures, let's go ahead and take a look at some of his accessories. His accessories are mostly hands because he has not only his humanoid hands. Let's see if we can get this to focus. He has his ant style hands, which you put these on when he's in his ant mode to see him crawling in those. The sculpt is nice. See how many sets of hands? 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of hands in that blister pack, as well as 4 other sets of hands here where he has fists and other kind of crazy looking hands there as well. And his secondary head sculpt, let's take a look at that, because there is his secondary head sculpt. Very, very similar. He has the articulated antenna, which are on little teeny tiny ball joints. Might be hard to see that there, but very articulated. And this face is very similar to the other ant face. To show these side by side, there are slight differences to these that I didn't really catch at first. So the one on the right here is his more ant mode face. You can see the large pincers there, but very similar to this head, but this head has those pincers more wide open, like a biting motion. They are not articulated, but it's probably hard to see. He has actual sculpted teeth. So it's almost like a combo skull ant head there, with his jaw opening up to reveal that more humanoid teeth structure underneath. So yeah, really cool. I like the humanoid nature of this guy. So I do like this humanoid head on him a lot better. And I know it's hard to tell on camera the differences in all of this black plastic, but there is contrast between glossy and matte finishes here. The character or the figure feels really good in hand. Some pieces like his toes and some of the joints can feel rather fragile, but from my experience with these Sexyice figures, they are fairly durable. Like once you're posing them and get them moving, just high quality figure that doesn't feel too fragile. It's got a nice little weight to it for how sort of slender this character is. But yeah, just tons of sculpted detail and design here. You can see, I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, that sort of glossy spine there against the more matte finish. And of course he has his ant-like arms here that we're going to get into. So let's go ahead and jump into the articulation, because that's what these figures are really known for, is the amount of articulation these things have. Now his head can go up that far, go down that far, got great range there. Of course, as I was saying, his antennas are on a small ball joint, so those can rotate around completely 360 degrees, as well as up and down. Those are really fun. He also, when he goes into his ant mode, you actually can turn the head around there, so the neck can be used that way for his ant mode. We'll get into that a little bit later. But you know, this has that peg there for this. It's a double ball peg that allows a really good amount of range throughout this figure, as you can see. Now his shoulders, these shoulder pieces are articulated. They are on small little hinges here. Or is it a ball joint? So, yeah, it's a little hinge joint there. So those can move up and get completely out of the way as you need them to. And then his shoulders here are on a nice large ball joint that is going to get just plenty of range. You can move up and down, as well as spin this around from the shoulder there. It's kind of, you know, I'm still getting used to this figure myself, just because of all the different points of articulation here. So he can move from the shoulder. There's a swivel there next to this ball joint, next to another ball joint here, which adds even more articulation, next to another ball joint there, which then leads to his hands, which I believe are on, there's a little sleeve piece, and the hands are also on a small ball joint underneath there. So you can see just in one arm we got a swivel, large ball joint, smaller ball joint, even smaller ball joints just for each arm. Now this is interesting. You might be able to see there's a large ball joint that connects to the chest right there, blends in really well with the sculpt, so it's not too obvious, but that is going to allow his arms to move up like so. Now this one you can spin, so this has a full 360 from that ball joint there. So just tons of motion. And then of course, like the other arms, you have the ball joint there, and then the smaller ball joint here. So you can get these ant arms into all sorts of different configurations and articulation. Just tons of free motion there. These arms are really cool and a lot of fun because, you know, as you know, you're going to have him crawling at like an ant as well. But yeah, just super cool. Can't wait to mess around and pose this guy with all of those joints. Now he has, his neck is on a ball joint, at the right there, so you get motion from the lower neck. The upper abdomen piece here, he is an insect, has a ball joint that gets a ton of range going down that way. That's just from the top, and then that also gets a little bit of range going back, not a ton. He has another ball joint here at the middle abdomen, which gets a little bit of range going forward, not a ton, but that's the one that's going to get you your backwards range. So that adds a lot there. So, you know, when you start activating both of them, you can see how much movement you can get out of that there. And then he also has a lower, right at the crotch piece, a lower abdomen ball joint as well of motion there. You have your double jointed knee, tons of range, tucks up under really nice. Looks really good. Nice curvature on the knee there. Moves really well. You can get him into the front back split. Starts to kick out a little bit, nothing crazy. Down here we have another ball joint that allows you to twist, swivel, move up and down, and then another ball joint there at the foot, which allows even more range. So the articulation on this thing is just nutty. Like, it's crazy. These Sexyice figures are really cool. You have individual toe articulation there. You can get those to move all the way up like that. And let's see, and a little bit down, not a ton. But those are his little ant feet. So this guy just has, you know, a million points of articulation, just to show you also the amount of range in these ball joints at the arms. Tons of range. These things are going to be bending all over the place, just giving you plenty of free range to pose this guy however you see fit. So really freaking cool. Awesome figure. Once again, Sexyice just absolutely killing it. Love the amount of detail, especially in the articulation. Let's go ahead and put on a couple of these crazy hands. You don't want to lose that little sheath piece, but you can see very small little ball joint there, so you want to be careful. I do like these sort of like pointed, almost like spiky kung fu hands. Those are really cool. Let's put on one of his kind of creepy ant hands here. Oh yeah, look at that. So you can kind of see how that would sit. Really cool. He also has these big hands. Let's put one of these big, maybe this is more so for the ant mode here. Let me show you. And these hands are made of a softer PVC style plastic, so you don't have to worry about breaking any of these fragile fingers. So look at that one. That's an even bigger sort of ant style hand. So I guess you get to choose which one you prefer, but looking really cool. He does also have some fists here. Let's see. Put on one of his fists. So just tons of different hand options. That's what this guy's accessories are all made up of. So no additional other pieces. You know, some of the other figures come with weapons and stuff, but there's his fist. So you can see there. So no weapons for this guy. No any other additional things like let me go grab it actually. Let's get this guy to stand. Let's see, because he does have small feet there. But no, you can see the balance is nice. They don't miss with these Sexyice figures. They do not come to play. They're going to make sure your figure's balancing well. They're going to make sure it looks great. They're going to make sure the articulation is crazy. There we go. Let me give you a size comparison here. Let me grab one of my other Sexyice figures. That is the Unkval Anaconda Smasher. Awesome figure. Absolutely incredible figure. You can see here just the size difference. A lot slimmer. A little bit smaller. I mean, maybe just slightly taller from the Sexyice Ant, but much slimmer, a lot less heavy, comes with less accessories compared. This guy came with like multiple bats, multiple guns, football bomb, head pieces, extra head, extra visor pieces, tons of hands. Like, the Smasher came absolutely loaded out, and even though the Ant comes loaded out with tons of different hands, just the amount of plastic that you're getting from the Smasher feels much more substantial. But the engineering and the amount of ball joints and everything that you have in this Ant figure is actually crazy. Like, this, I think, just has much more engineering for sure. So check that out. And then one of my other Sexyice figures, just to bring him in, is going to be the Hound. And this is a really cool little guy, but just to give you a sense of scale here, let me pose him so he can stand a little better. Love this Hound figure. Ton of fun. Also balanced super well, as you can see. And there's the whole Sexyice family for me right there. The Smasher, the Hound, and the Ant. These are the three figures that I have from Sexyice so far. And these things are just so incredible. I'm just kind of in awe of the amount of engineering, how they hide the articulation in the complicated sculpt. Just a lot of fun. I will definitely be getting more Sexyice figures as I continue to develop more characters. But yeah, this thing looks incredible. Just as you can see, just fits right into the sort of universe of Sexyice stuff. I'm sure this would fit even better with like the Manticora and the other, the Mantis, the other bug-like characters. This would fit even better because, yeah, those are really popular ones from Sexyice that I unfortunately do not have, but if they release other versions of it here in the near future, I just might have to pick them up. But there he is in all his glory. Let's go ahead and do some posing. Let's get him into Ant mode, and then, yeah, we'll call it quits here. But awesome figure. And there he is, transformed into his Ant mode on all 6 legs, looking like a creepy little insect. Looking pretty cool. I did confirm he does have thigh swivel. Just one of my thighs was a little bit stuck. The other one was pretty loose and moved well. But here we go. Yeah, you can move his arms all around. He can crawl and be really creepy. He's right out of a science fiction horror movie. Looking really cool. Of course, now I personally do prefer the more humanoid mode of him standing on his 2 legs. But still really cool. Evolution, Artificial Evolution Ant, newest release from Sexyice, 2019, and a really cool figure. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun posing this guy. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, but thanks guys for watching, and we'll have more Sexyice stuff here on the channel if you guys enjoy this video. I definitely enjoy collecting this line because these figures are incredible. So yeah, let me know down in the comments if you like Sexyice figures, if you think this is cool, and I will review more in the future. But thanks guys, and we will see you in the next one.